Shalom. First and foremost, want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shah, by Hashem, Rakak Radash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS that rule well. Peace, love, and salutations to all the brothers out there pushing this word of sincerity and the truth. Shalom to the brothers, sisters, and children out there keeping this word of sincerity and the truth. Okay, I just wanted to go into this lesson. This is a YouTube short I had seen earlier. And everything the brother said is true. It's biblical, which we all know, And these women, they know it too, because she gonna go into the things of the role of a woman or the things that a woman's supposed to do for the household, but she doesn't have the vision. She doesn't understand the plan or the dynamic. She doesn't understand the goal, the end goal, the long-term vision, what all of the hard work that the woman does, in their labors, how it contributes to the overall goal. And which, I'm going to go through in the scriptures, but you're going to hear what she has to say. Then it's going to be a brother right behind her, and you're going to hear what he has to say. And then I'm going to the scripture. So, Lord, I'm trying not to make it long, but Lord willing, it's edifying. Fair use, fair use, fair use. I'm not using your content to make any money. This is strictly for educational purposes, bringing out biblical truth. Fair use.
But guess wasn't 50-50. The dishes wasn't 50-50. The laundry wasn't 50-50. The cleaning wasn't 50-50. And that's an everyday motherfucking job. I come home and they got food on the table, clothes on the bed, got shit everywhere. I'm organized and clean, so every day I'm exhausted. I'm coming home, I'm cleaning my house, and yes, I do that anyways, but when it's just you, it's just you. When you are cleaning up for a man and his children and other people, it is a whole full-time job, and you don't get time for yourself, and that's why women get burnt out, and you're no longer happy in your relationship, because you're coming home and a man is sitting on the couch because he's tired from work, and you're making sure you're catering to him.
So what?
I don't understand. Where is the value in that?
Fellas, do not choose a woman who don't want to be a woman.
Are you delusional?
The modern day women, right there. I'm going to go to work like you. Yeah, you want me to cook, clean. So what? Yes, you're going to cook, clean, do this and do that. And guess what? He taking the trash out. He fixing the house. He making sure this. But we have different duties, functions, and responsibilities. My wife don't want my duties, and I don't want hers. We have different responsibilities. Just because I can see you cook the food and you can't see me clean the gutters, you don't even care about that stuff, but it still need to be done. Men have different responsibilities. So all this, I cook and I clean and that's part of your function. But when your tire is flat, my function is to make sure you have a new tire.
But
when your car need an oil change, it's my job to make sure these people ain't ripping you off. We have different duties and functions and responsibilities. And if you don't love your duty, your function, your responsibility, you're not fit to be a wife, period.
Oh, that ending is funny, man. But yeah, man, that man true, man. It's true. And as you can see, the woman complaining about having to do her duty, And first and foremost, this is why women had handmaids in the ancient world, And see, you a lot of women, and then also too, is why a man had multiple wives. Because you can split up the responsibility so everything doesn't fall on you. Because we are in captivity, And by that, I mean, we are under another nation is in power, okay? We don't control nothing. We are not the ones in control. We don't set the laws. We don't make the rules. We don't do none of that. We don't control the resources of the money. So we are not in power. We are under this nation. We are still in captivity. So it's already gonna be hard. We can't have handmaids. You can't have this or that, So, it's already hard as it is, just that alone. But now you still have women, complaining about the situation, complaining about having to do their duties. But these women, a lot of women do not understand the overall goal or the plan, because you're not just doing this just because this is this is all you were created to do. It's a reason behind it, and you're building towards something, But I will finish the point. That's why in the ancient world, you had handmaids, men had, other wives. Women had handmaids, hand servants. Men had, multiple wives, concubines to help with the responsibilities, because the man, he's the one that's building. He has the long-term vision. And a woman like her with that mindset, they don't understand that. She complained about a man coming home and wanting to relax, and the woman having to come home, both of them working, and she talking about 50, it's not 50-50, but the man is carrying the heaviest of the load, which I'm finna get. It's always like that, because what women don't realize is being a leader, which a lot of them actually realize it and they can't do it. But when I say a lot of them realizing, they realizing it because they're single and they realizing that they can't handle the pressure. But being a man, you not only have to deal with, house, take care of the house, protect, provide for the family, but you got responsibilities to the Lord as well. We have responsibilities to serve our power, to serve the Lord. And that's something that women do not understand. It's more than just you coming home and seeing us kick our feet up and relaxing from the day and you being submissive and serving us. It's more than just that, or just going out and working every day in the world and then coming home and you doing all the work. It's not like that, Like, I'm gonna read it. This is 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 1 in the AMP. It says, in the same way, you wives, be submissive to your own husbands. It says, subordinate, not as inferior, but out of respect for the responsibilities entrusted to husbands and their accountability to the Most High. And so partnering with them. So right there, it lets you know that husbands has a responsibility and they are accountable for themselves to the Most High. They have responsibilities to serve the Lord and we have a specific task the Lord has us doing. And in today's time, we are to teach the word, be doers and teachers of the word, to not only just going out and teaching on the highways and hedges, but we are to walk according to the ways of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, and we are to guide our household. So the women or a woman, however many brothers got, and if brothers got children, you supposed to be leading them in a righteous way too. Teaching them according to the ways of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. And of course, it's various situations where you can do that and sometimes you can't, but that doesn't mean you stop just because they don't follow. Damn, I was gonna get something I forgot. Okay, we can get this. Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 9. Only take heed to thyself and keep thy soul diligently, lest thou forget the things which thy eyes have seen, and lest they depart from thy heart all the days of thy life. But teach them thy sons and thy sons' sons. Verse 10. Especially the day that thou stoodest before the Lord thy God in Horeb, when the Lord said unto me, gather me the people together, and I will make them hear my words, that they may learn to fear me all the days that they shall live upon the earth, and that they may teach their children. Right, see? And this is a man's responsibility to teach his children. Deuteronomy 6 and 7. And thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children, talking about the commandments, and shall talk of them when thou sittest in thine house, and when thou walkest by thy way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up. Deuteronomy 11 and 19. And ye shall teach them your children, speaking of them when thou sittest in thine house, and when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up. I'm gonna get verse 18. Verse 18. Nope. And it shall come to pass, if ye shall hearken diligently unto my commandments, which I command you this day, to love the Lord your God and to serve him with all your heart, with all your soul. It says that I will give you the rain of your land in his due season, the first rain and the latter rain, that thou mayest gather in thy corn and thy wine and thy oil. Meaning, if we keep the commandments of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, he gonna make everything we do prosperous. That's what he's saying. He gonna make everything that we do and that we plan to do prosperous. Verse 15. And I will send grass in thy fields for thy cattle, and that thou mayest eat and be full. Take heed to yourselves that your heart, which is your mind, be not deceived, and ye turn aside and serve other gods and worship them. And then the Lord's wrath be kindled against you, and he shut up the heaven, that there be no rain, and that the land yield not her fruit, unless ye perish quickly from off the good land wherein which the Lord giveth you, which that happened. You know, we we started serving other gods. We stopped keeping the commandments, and the Lord's wrath was kindled against us. And now we're not even on our own territory no more. Verse 18. Therefore shall ye lay up these my words in your heart and in your soul, and bind them for a sign upon your hand, that they may be as frontlets between your eyes. This is figuratively speaking, not literal. And ye shall teach them your children, speaking of them when thou sittest in thine house, and when thou walkest by the way, when thou liest down, and when thou risest up. So this is the responsibility of a man. You know, this is one of his responsibilities. Like it said, verse 1 again, 1 Peter 3:1, AMP. In the same way, you wives, be submissive to your own husbands, or be subject to your own husbands, subordinate, not as inferior. See, it says subordinate, but not as inferior, like you a lower person, lower human being. You know, it's not in a belittling way. It's just an order, because you got to understand the vision. You got to understand the plan. The Lord is all about building. That's why men are builders, because we get it from our Father. We get it from the Heavenly Father, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. His true name is Yahweh Shai. You know, he is a builder. You know, he built the church, and he's also in the kingdom of heaven. That's gonna continue on. Let me get that real quick. Just real quick. It's Isaiah chapter 9, starting at verse 6. For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder, and his name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. These are all titles for Yahweh Shai. Verse 7, of the increase of his government and peace, there shall be no end. See? Of the increase of his government and peace, there shall be no end. So it's a builder. He's going to continually build. It's going to increase. It says, upon the throne of David and upon his kingdom, to order it, to establish it with judgment and justice from henceforth even to forever. The zeal of the Lord will perform. The zeal of the Lord of hosts will perform this. So even our Lord Yahweh Shai is a builder, and he's building us up. You know, he built up the church, and in the kingdom of heaven, he's gonna be building. You know, it's gonna be just like I said, the increase of his government is gonna be no end. So men, we get it from our power, and we are naturally builders. And you have to understand that we have long-term visions on what we want to build for our family, and we want it to be in alignment. Us in this truth, at least, we want it to be in alignment with what the Lord wants. You know, so just because think about different men like Abraham, Lot, you know, Job. They were extremely wealthy and rich. They had many riches. Let's see. Let's see. Trying to think. Let's get here. I'm trying to see what, matter of fact, because I'm trying to see when they split. Here it is, Genesis chapter 12 and 5. Wait. Is that it? It's not it. Okay, it's Genesis 13. Probably was 12. Okay, yeah, here we go. Genesis 13, starting in verse 1, A and P. So Abram went up out of Egypt, he and his wife, and all that he had, and Lot, his nephew, with him, into the Negev, the south country of Judah, which is, it just says to the south, because at the time Israel wasn't established yet. Now Abram was extremely rich in livestock and in silver and in gold. He journeyed on from the Negev as far as Bethel, to the place where his tent had been at the beginning, between Bethel and Ai, something like that, where he had first built an altar, and there Abram called on the name of the Lord in prayer. But Lot, who went with Abram, also had flocks and herds and tents. Now the land was not able to support them, that is, sustain all their grazing and water needs, while they lived near one another, for their possessions were too great for them to stay together. See, they were building, they were builders, they were extremely rich, you know. And the Lord took Abraham from among his own family and told him to, you know, he was going to give him a land. He was going to make him the father of many nations, you know, and he going to have children as the sands of the sea, you know. So, and Lot went with him. So the Lord had Abram to be built up, or Abraham to be built up. And like you said, look, they had so much possession that they couldn't even stay in the same area. And they had a lot going on, verse 7. And there was strife and quarrel between the herdsmen of Abram's cattle and the herdsmen of Lot's cattle. Now the Canaanite and the Perizzite were living in the land at the same time, making grazing of livestock difficult. So Abram said to Lot, please let there be no strife and disagreement between you and me, nor between your herdsmen and my herdsmen, because we are relatives. Is not the entire land before you? Please separate yourself from me. If you take the left, then I will go to the right, or if you choose the right, then I will go to the left. So Lot looked and saw that the valley of Jordan was well watered everywhere. This was before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. It was all like the garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt, as you go to Zoar at the south end of the Dead Sea. So Lot, this is where Lot went. You know, this is where he went to that land of Sodom and Gomorrah. And Abram went they went their separate ways. But the point was, the Lord built them, you know. Lord had them built up. So let's go back to that Peter. Because this is all going back to understanding the role of a man. You know, we are supposed to be building for the future in the ways of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. That's physically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally. Because leading, it ain't just I tell you what to do and you follow. You know, it's the purpose, it's a reason behind everything that the man is supposed to do. That's a heavy responsibility. The man is responsible. He's responsible for the lives of his household, you know. The man is responsible for the lives of his household. And we see just how detrimental it is, because when you don't have a man in the house, you see how that family, it struggles to. So like, yeah, I gotta clear some space off because I keep ending the video. But well, like I was saying, when that man is missing from the household, you can see it. I forgot where I was going with it. We can see the dynamic from the different examples of these situations where you got a lot of households ran by the woman, and it's a lot of dysfunction, you know, because that's not the true and proper order. And true enough, that's not every single situation. So don't take my words out of context. I'm not saying every single situation where it's a single mother or a single parent household that it's just dysfunction. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, for the most part, especially amongst the Southern Kingdom, where you see a single parent household and it's no man in the picture, or it's no good man in the picture at that, it's a lot of dysfunction going on. And that's not how it's supposed to be. So the man has a very, very prominent, very important role in a household. Very, very extremely important. And not to say that a woman's role is not important, because we need that feminine energy. We need you to do the thing. We need you to, do your part, do your duties, do your responsibilities. We need that. And as a man, I don't want to do a woman's responsibilities, Now being single, you're going to have to, You gotta do everything to take care of yourself, That's a given. But for the most part, me being a man, I want to do the manly stuff. I want to do what the Lord created for me to do. And I would want a woman that's going to do the things that she was created to do. And a part of doing what she was created to do was also to be submissive, as it say right here. And I'm going to get the definition of the word submissive. Because you get into that word submissive or submit, a lot of women, they turn their nose up. They start to hiss at that word, They hiss at the word submit. You tell them submit, they hear servant. No, I'm sorry. They hear that too. But you tell them submit, they hear slave. And that's not what that's talking about. So it says submissive. It says, and it's the adjective. It says ready to conform to the authority or will of others, meekly, obedient, or passive. And that's a part of being, as far as a woman goes to a man, it's a part of being feminine. So I'm going to read the scripture again, and I'm going to go and close it out because my phone won't let me be great. So it says, in the same way, you wives, be submissive to your own husbands, subordinate, not as inferior, but out of respect for the responsibilities entrusted to husbands and their accountability to the Most High, and so partnering with them, so that even if some do not obey the word of the Most High, they may be won over to Yahushua without discussion by the godly lies of their wives. And I'm gonna read down, Lord. Hopefully it don't end again. When they see your modest and respectful behavior together with your devotion and appreciation, love your husband, encourage him, and enjoy him as a blessing from the Most High. That woman, she was complaining. On the video, she was just complaining about having to do this, having to do that, wash the clothes, wash the dishes, having to sweep, having to iron, having to put stuff up, having to clean up, complaining, And that's not what a man wants. It says your adornment must not be merely external, with interweaving and elaborate knotting of the hair and wearing gold jewelry, or being superficially preoccupied with dressing in expensive clothes, but let it be the inner beauty of the hidden person of the heart, meaning your spirit, your character. Let the beauty shine through who you are, your character, spiritual traits that makes you beautiful. The external is just a plus. It says, with the imperishable quality and unfading charm of a gentle and peaceful spirit, one that is calm and self-controlled, not over anxious, but serene and spiritually mature, which is very precious in the sight of the Most High. For in this way, in the former times, the holy women who hoped in the Most High used to adorn themselves, being submissive to their own husbands and adapting themselves to them. And adapting themselves. So that means you adapt to him. He don't conform to you. You adapt to him. He gives off that masculine energy. You receive it. And you give off the feminine energy. It works together. But you adapt to him. He leads, you follow. Just as Sarah obeyed Abraham, following him and having regard for him as the head of their house, calling him Lord. Lord meaning, she understands he's above her. That wasn't her being no slave or nothing. That just means that that was a respect. Get the footnote. It says in ancient time, a common title of honor and respect. And you have become her daughters if you do what is right without being frightened by any fear. That is being respectful towards your husband, but not giving into intimidation, nor allowing yourself to be led into sin, nor to be harmed. So it means you follow your husband, you follow your man, you do what he tell you to do. But if he tell you to do something that's going off and willfully sinning against the Lord, then you don't do that, and don't, not out of intimidation, but you serve your husband, serve the man that you with. So like this man said, at the very end of the video. And matter of fact, I'm gonna let him say it again.
Can I clean it? Like, yeah, that's part of your function. But when your tire is flat, my function is to make sure you have a new tire.
But
when
that's
your
what
car
I'm
need an
saying.
oil change, it's my job to make sure these people ain't ripping you off. We have different duties and functions and responsibilities. And if you don't love your duty, your function, your responsibility, you're not fit to be a wife, period.
Hey, so if you don't love your function or your duty or your responsibilities, you are not fit to be a wife. So on that note, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS that rule well. Peace, love, and salutations to all the brothers out there pushing this word of sincerity and the truth. Shalom to the brothers, sisters, and children out there keeping this word of sincerity and the truth.